Welcome back to Force Education. This is Zed. Today I'm going to be talking about ONTX Oncova Therapeutics. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help this channel grow, subscribe, and leave notifications on. Let's jump right into this one. So Oncova Therapeutics, I'm covering here relating to their pipelines, upcoming milestones, and then technical analysis. So some of their product pipelines, as currently speaking, you have three main programs. The ON123300, and it's related to solid tumors. That is finishing up in phase 1, ongoing to phase 2 at some time soon. The mechanism of actions is really targeting CDK4 and 6 and RK5. And you got also the next one here, which is oral rigosertib, and this one here, the indication is KRAS plus NSCLC. That is phase 1 to 2. And then you got the COVID-1 program. That one is just finishing preclinical, going to phase 1. Now, I can go exact in details about each of these, but I think best is to go on towards the presentation, the PowerPoint first. So this presentation was actually the very recent one. And about Oncova Therapeutics, they got proprietary target anti-cancer agent designed to disrupt the pathways important for cancer cell proliferations for mainly the ON123300 and the rigosertib. The ON123300 is a third-generation multi-kinase inhibitor that targets CDK4/6 and ARK5. And this one is a commercial agents, or CDK4/6 commercial agents are multiple billion-dollar franchise, potential in solid tumors to overcome resistance to second-generation CDK4/6 inhibitors in HR plus HER2, metastatic breast cancer, and in additional tumor types. US phase 1 study patients, the first visit is in the first half of 2021, and China phase 1 study is ongoing. Now, the rigosertib is a multiple investor-sponsored combination studies, identification of RAS-driven tumors, indications, and developments at the minimal expenses, and the near-term news flow, including ON123300 phase 1 progress is in US and in China. And it's well capitalized. Cash and cash equivalent as of September of 2020, that's 24.2, and common only financing the first quarter of 2021, that will be 37.5 million. And then upcoming milestones here. So in the first half for ON12330, in the first half of 2021, you'll have the phase 1 study, first patient, first visitor. First half 2022, recommend phase 2 dose. China phase 1 study, additional dosing cohorts, that's in 2021, and recommended phase 2 dose is in the second half of 2021. Now, the next thing here is the rigosertib, which is recommended phase 2 dose for oral in KRAS mutated non-small cell lung cancer. That's expected to happen in the first half of 2021, and the corporate developments is in license of new compounds in 2021. And we can go on in terms of exact details, their efficacy, the number of sales expected in the US, and the number of market values, etc. Of course, you see here really nice growth, but I don't think the technicals are what really is important for us. These all look statistically valid. Now, ARK5 and cancer, the list goes on. I think the most important thing for us is related to the development milestones. Development milestones for the ON12330, again, we did a lot of this, is that they filed an IND to the US FDA permission for study to process received in the fourth quarter of 2020, and phase 1 in the US is anticipated in the first half of 2021, continuous daily dosing, and phase 1 in China open in occurring patients for daily dosing on day 1 to 21 of 28-day cycle, and phase 1 studies to provide data to inform phase 2 study, including dose treatment cycles. So I think that's kind of it in terms of the summary itself. I think we mentioned everything here and everything in there. And if you have any questions, you can send it to this email for them. Now, in terms of press releases and SEC filings, of course, they did have the recent $28.75 million offering. That's a lot of cash that was actually launched in February 16th, 2021. They also did have a corporate update presentation that I did just show you in a second ago. And so yeah, we could almost around $28 million. They also had a virtual event that was on January 20th, so yesterday. Again, the same kind of information. They also announced an 8.7 million public offering back in January. That comes up altogether roughly 35 million. And back in December 21st, we already know that they did this one here, Nova Therapeutics announced FDA permission to study the proceeds under investigation of new drugs, the ON123300. Covered that in the presentation. And I think that kind of gives everything we need to know about them in terms of news. Now we can go ahead to market cap and valuation. The market cap is a little bit short of 400 million. Price over sales of almost 1900. Of course, they are pharma, which means that they are often really horrible on their sales number. And a lot of that money goes towards research and development. So if we were to go to quarterly for the income statement, as it loads right now, you get to see just generally in terms of year over year, their net income has been negative around $24 million. Now, in terms of quarters, you get to see that they are averaging around $6 million in loss with barely any kind of revenue coming up. In terms of balance sheets, we need to know how much debt they have to kind of give an anticipation to how far are they from beating their debt. So that's one of the important things. Remember, they did have $35 million in terms of recent offering. That's just in January and February, 2 single offerings. Now, on a year-on-year, you get to see their total assets have increased around 23 million. Total liabilities is around 12 million. Now, on a quarter perspective, you're seeing their total liabilities around 12 million and their total assets around 25. So even back in where September was, they already had enough cash to pay off their entire debt. Moving on, institutional buyers seem to be a little bit mixed on this one. A lot more selling than buying is happening. JP Morgan, Jane Street, HRT Financial, 2 Sigma has liquidated. 2 Research Capital bought around 110. Citadel looks like they doubled their shares. Bank of New York liquidated. It's a little bit mixed because you see Morgan Stanley here as well really increase their shares. So it's kind of mixed in terms of institutional buyers, not bearish or bullish. You get to see 13Gs. It seems to be stagnant in terms of the month of February. Insiders, you get to see a lot of insider purchases going on, and that's quite amazing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With an accumulated, I would say somewhere a little bit north of 100,000 shares total. And in terms of the latest news as well, they do have an annual meeting or a proxy stockholder meeting happening on March 4th, 2021. Some of the things they're going to be voting on is including a reverse split, authorized share decrease proposal, and yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. Decreasing their common shares from 250 million to 225 million. That's through a reverse split. And let's go on towards the technical analysis, and then we can discuss a little bit further that reverse splits, potential, etc. If you haven't done so, please make sure to subscribe and leave notifications on. It helps my channel a lot. On a 1 week perspective, we get to see that this trend here of an increase or the indication of the ADX that's showing a trend is strong. William %R is overbought. MACD is looking really strong, and so is momentum. The moving averages are really good. It looks like 78 is above 64. That's your trading action zone. And the price point is above 52. We can go on next now towards the 1 day perspective. On the 1 day perspective, we get to see that it does look bullish. 10 SMA is above the 30 EMA, and that trading action zone is between 127 and 98 cents. You can expect positive reversals to occur over there. 50 SMA is above the 200 SMA, and that's a bullish thing. Now, in terms of the ADX, we're seeing perhaps a potential of a pullback sometime in this level. And the MACD is looking somewhat stable. Momentum is retracting just a tad. Now, on a 2 hour perspective, things are looking a little bit sideways. The MACD is looking like it's going to break out. There's a possibility of another breakout reversal. 10 SMA is above the 30 EMA. It's 163 to 154. That's where you expect positive reversals to occur. That's a good thing there. But other than that, it's almost in an accumulation stance. On the moving average band, you get to see it's actually increasing, and that's a bullish thing. The moving average band is expected to trade between 110, 1, and 90. Stochastic fast and stochastic slow are both showing that there is another potential for another leg up for this one. Now, onto the Fibonacci retracements. I'll take the 193 level to all the way into around 20 cents. And we're seeing a Fibonacci support at the 156, 127, 107, 86, and 61, with the only resistance sitting at $1.93. Now, if we were to go ahead and use, let's say, a 1 month, 2 hour perspective and just start drawing some price line actions, we'll get to see that the current resistance sits at 175, 181, 193. Significant support sits at 165, 153, 140, 133, 120, 108, and then down to 85 cents. Coming to the question to Ed, what do you think about this one? Well, definitely it has come a long way from 11.17 with the last reverse split. And if we were to look into, well, do they need to make another reverse split? They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days above $1. And if tomorrow is above $1, they regain back their compliance. So the reverse split risk becomes a lot less. But at the same time, if they want to consolidate shares, that is a possibility. Now, if it's just about consolidating shares, I don't think that's going to be a big risk. But talking about what I think about this one, I generally don't like pharmas, but they look like they have a good amount of pipeline coming up. They are overvalued based on the price over book, but a massive part of this one is that it's trading on intrinsic value rather than actual price over book value. And if that is the case, you might actually see a little bit of a further increase, maybe up to $2. But if you're investing into this one, I think that this one is a little bit unpredictable. It's pipe dreams as well. We call it pipeline for a reason. And the pipeline is really focused onto 2 drugs. If they do fail, then your best bet is another buyout. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like it.